And I'm happy that I've seen my book read by a petrol attendant, a security guard, a judge, an intellectual, a professor. Some of them don't speak to each other. People I called in this room, they don't. That's why I said some of you that side. And no one is called the cock lawyer, but I'm called a Zuma lawyer. This, ladies and gentlemen, I won't be able to, I wasn't supposed to speak, I won't be able to welcome you, but please feel free, feel happy. There are all sorts of people. President, I'm going to call upon now, Mayor Geraldine, my Premier, my colleagues, Prof, the judges. I don't mean you, Joe, I mean the judge next to you. My friends and colleagues, it's very difficult to mention that each one of you represent what I write about. Literally, if you read the book, you will see this is a book about everybody. And it's not perfect, because I'm not, but it's a book about imperfection, about contradictions in society. I see Brady, the judge himself from the African court, and I see all sorts of people. But I'm asked to introduce a man who brought misery to my life. Misery to my life, because all my clients bring misery to my life. And no one is called the cock lawyer, but I'm called a Zuma lawyer. Because the man causes irrationality. For some reason, all revolutionaries cause irrationality. And some of them don't speak to each other. People I called in this room, they don't. That's why I said some of you that side and others. But I call him because I wanted to provoke some of you. Because the revolution for me is always that those who are oppressed cannot tolerate each other, but can tolerate the oppressor. And I want to force you for unity to be in the same room with people you dislike. Because the wars in the world are caused by our fear to confront things. Because we comply, we conform, and there's death in the world. And the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Ishmael are still fighting. Thousands of years later, because we don't want truth. And everybody who's here, I call them not because my book is perfect, precisely because it's imperfect, written by an imperfect person, like you. And I want to remind you how many black people you hate when you can shake the cock's hand. How many of you don't speak to each other in this room, but you speak to apartheid killers? And so I thought, let me force you to be in one room as we rethink what we've done, what we're about. But anyway, Mr. Zuma, I'm called a Zuma lawyer. And I wanted to introduce this man because I write about it in the book. There's actually part 3 in the book, which starts by the chapter called Zuma, the Man You Thought You Knew. And many think I'm writing about him because I don't know his faults. I do, just like I know your faults. And I call it that because I think I want us to rethink how we judge others and how we judge each other. Because I've been disappointed about justice, that we think it's the exclusive preserve of people we like. When actually it's the exclusive preserve precisely of those we don't like. Because our friends always get justice from us. So the test for justice is how we treat those we don't like, those we despise. And so I'm going to call the president, and I appreciate the fact you're here, and I've forgiven him for causing me trouble. Half of you here don't like me because of him. Ngathi kuye masiqala hey yazi msholozi windaba uyahlupha, you cause trouble. And the trouble is because you are a mirror to most of us. And most people dislike you because they've forgotten their own crimes. They've forgotten their own faults. They've forgotten that they too, in fact, worse than you, have betrayed the cause. And most people who hate you, as I saw when I started representing you, it's people who've complied with capital, who've conformed with capital, who've been made and given shares in companies of our former colonizers, and they've become conformists. And I'm grateful that you came, and I've told people in that chapter, you're not a perfect man. No lawyer represents a perfect person. No one who's perfect walks into our chambers. You won't walk into my chambers to invite me when you get a Nobel Peace Prize. You will come in because you have trouble. And our job is to represent those you dislike. And this man called me in 2017 because everyone had left him, his comrades, and everybody. He was losing power. And my parents, my sisters know, we were taught not to look the other way when people need us, even if they are despised. And Tatem Ruti, lastly, you're sitting to my mentor, Tokyo. He taught me, I was his speech writer. But before I called the president, the priest talked about many things. I want to challenge all of you because you're going to be going to church. Why I represented this man and why I'm going to call him. You're going to go to church on the 16th, 17th, and 18th of April, Easter. And most of you will be celebrating the man who I'm sure his historicity we cannot doubt, even if you're not a Christian, he existed. Put on the cross next to him, a criminal, and on the left, another criminal. Freed is a thief whose name was called Jesus Barabbas. We are not told that his name was Jesus, but it was. Take it from me. And from that day, when the Jews called for Barabbas to be freed, the thief, we've been calling thieves to lead us from that day. We've been freeing Barabbas. We are led by thieves, we are led by conformists, we are led by people who've betrayed us. And that's what you will see. We've been freeing Barabbas every day. But I thought I should just tell you because you are all mentioned in my book, all of you, either by name or categories of people. You are. Some of you are great revolutionaries. Others are traitors. Others no longer know what they are. And others are friends. But I just wanted to recognize a few people. This is the problem with this man. And this one. Thank you. I just wanted to say that the book, I won't have the time to thank you because there's going to be a discussion which most of us dislike. That everyone who's here, my colleagues, where are the advocates? Can't mention all of you, but they're here, all those colleagues. It's very important to me. And through them, I learned a couple of things. Matthew is here, was my mentor. I learned that you can be a great advocate and still be humble. And he is that personified. And there's Brady. You can be a revolutionary for a long time and still be a judge. And there are commanders of Umkhonto weSizwe, not Zuma's one now, the original one that I joined. And they are here, and they represent a part of my history. And those of you who are here and you don't talk to each other, it's because you're in my heart, all of you. It pains me that I can't bring you together. And there is Mpofu-Walsh here that I know scolds me. There's Judge Malindi, Jonathan. I won't disclose any secret of yours. They are safe with me. Stephen, there's Judge Malindi, Prof, by the way, see that man? Stand up, Rati. That's Soweto. When I say Soweto is my second home, that's where I lived in Soweto with this man. Thank you. And there's Mam Dimpo, special to me. She knows that many people don't know my special relationship with Bra Chris. Very like a brother. People say we look the same. And I sometimes see why she cries when we meet, because she thinks I look like her husband. But most, the comrades are here of the Communist Party. It's the last party I led, actually, in this province. No Palon and Kotent is here. Colleagues. There's Tokyo. That's my commander as well. But I ended up as his strategist and speechwriter. But there's friends here as well. And each one of you. But let me tell you, we're not always activists, and that's all we do. We live with people who are ordinary, that we live, we walk past. And those people, sometimes when you are at your lowest, are there. Well, you read in the book that I talk about all sorts of things, including how many of you have been sick? Right? When you're sick, you tell nurses that you will wash yourself until you can't. Where's Nest in Swallow? That nurse, in the book, I don't know how they found you, but Nest in Swallow is the nurse who prayed next to me the whole night thinking I was dying. So she's here. Yeah, so I realized I was dying because I woke up at 12 and she had something like a rosary. And she knew I was dying and she was praying, and I tried to tell her to leave and she didn't. And she had knocked off at 4, but she was still with me at 12. And I knew I was going. So thank you.
Dan, before we get back to the episode, we just want to let you know we have a big goal on this channel to build this community to 1,000 members. That means we have 2 new levels of SMWX membership. The first level gives you exclusive access to content, discounts on merch, but the second level, in addition to various other perks, gives you access to me. We're going to have meetups, online sessions. You're going to get discount on our live events. So if you want to deepen your SMWX community experience, help us get to that 1,000 member level. Look forward to seeing you there.
I'm no hero in the movie, in the book. It's a story of every black person, misunderstood, persecuted, told things, judged, doubted. Every professional here is doubted because they're black. And so I write this story because of the consistency of black suffering. Here is Nomaan. I don't know whether she's my sister or my niece, but we grew up together. And my wife, I write about her. Someone said they buy this book because of the tribute I paid to my wife. Well, everything is true there. Sometimes she thinks she's my mother. So, but each one of you were brought here. Comrade Dibu, Comrade Dibu, I write about her in the book, you'll see. Very difficult. This is one of my best friends. But we haven't seen each other for 10 years? Little, 5. Yeah, because it's difficult in this country because you have to move away from your friends because you're nursing other people. And we move away from comrades, from everybody, because we want white approval. We leave people we know, but we still shake de Kock's hand. And so it's been a journey in writing this book because for me, I represented people, Mkhwebane, Zuma, and everybody, not because they're friends. No, we don't represent friends. You are not a doctor. We are not a doctor if all the people you see are those who are not sick. And we are not a lawyer if those you help are not the condemned. That's what a lawyer does. That's what a doctor does. And priests, you preach to the sinners. They are full of you in your churches. Ma'am Kwebane, thank you. and everybody who's here, each one of you, thank you very much. Steve, Nez, yeah, I told Nez that you married the wrong Jew. These two have no money, you know. Yeah, but, and so for me, I just thought, because I won't get the time, everybody who came here, I can't mention everyone. I just think you represent the entire spectrum that I wanted to deal with in the book. I was not writing a textbook, but I was trying to weave in subjects that Fanon, Bigo, Albert Memmi, and other decolonial intellectuals were trying to do, but they hardly reach a petrol attendant. Books that lawyers write are full of Latin and ordinary people cannot reach. And I'm happy that I've seen my book read by a petrol attendant, a security guard, a judge, an intellectual, a professor. Thank you guys for being here. I really, really appreciate each one of you. I didn't write this book to make money. Money means nothing to me. I wanted you to read its imperfections, but most of all, read what sustains me, which is my faith. My faith sustains me in persecution. And the reason I love people who are persecuted is because I was taught that the underdog is always alone. And so, side with the underdog, because the underdog is always alone. And that's what we were taught with my sisters at home. We don't love people because they are perfect. We love them because they're imperfect. We love them because they're imperfect. We help them because they're imperfect. Tateli Sufi, thank you. I think you and Soli, I left the party, but I'm still a communist. I thought the party was not too communist for me. But guys, thank you so much. My wife, please see her. She's pretty, very Lastly, what I say in the book, that my great-grandfather had 9 wives. And I've not been able to meet his standard. I still have one. I'm working hard. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, everyone. My son who was singing, I know me and him are in different ends of the height spectrum, but he's my son. Thank you.